Braun, of course, running for governor this year, and next weekend the party will decide who will join Braun on the Republican ticket. His choice is State Rep Julie McGuire. They've been touring the state together here in recent days, meeting with delegates who will vote on their party's nomination for lieutenant governor next weekend.
We're out here introducing the delegates to Julie, and we're going to make a good team to take Indiana to the next level.
Being a team, we need the General Assembly to work with the executive branch. I think Mike's got a great conservative agenda. I'm all in on that agenda, and to be able to have the cooperation, have those relationships is going to go a long way and move things quickly.
And we also spoke with Braun and McGuire here in our studio last month when Braun announced that he wanted to make McGuire his running mate.
I'm excited. I'm humbled and honored to be chosen by this great team. I'm excited to be a partner with Mike Braun.
Coming from a conservative, entrepreneurial approach, and Julie fit that better than many folks that were interested in it, many individuals that were recommended by key supporters of mine. And I think Julie's going to do a great job at the traditional things a lieutenant governor would do.
Now, typically the convention vote is something of a formality, but this year former congressional candidate Micah Beckwith is running for lieutenant governor and hoping to win the support of enough delegates on the convention floor. I spoke with him this week. He says he doesn't have the number of delegates he needs yet, but he hopes he can convince more delegates to vote his way at the convention next weekend. Why'd you decide to run, and how close will this vote be on the convention floor?
Well, I think we've got good momentum. One of the things I started noticing over the last 5 years, just getting involved in politics myself around the state, is the Republican Party just kind of has, I think, got a little complacent. I think we've been told as Republicans, don't criticize fellow Republicans. And I'm a leader, I'm a business owner and a pastor, and I always believe accountability is a good thing, not a bad thing. And so I started looking around and just saying, okay, where are some of the voices and the holes that we need to fill so that we can have that accountability? And one of those areas is the lieutenant governor. It's one of the most robust lieutenant governor offices in the entire nation. And yet we've kind of treated it like the governor's secretary for the last 3 decades. And I think it's time to put that back into the hands of the people.
You've said you want to serve as a check and balance on the governor, and you've also put forth some of your own tax policy last week to provide some significant property tax relief, but that could come at a cost potentially to local governments. How would that actually work if you're nominated, particularly if your running mate doesn't necessarily agree with all the specific policy proposals you're suggesting? Yeah,
it's a great question. I don't want to be somebody that goes in and says that we're just going to look for a fight behind every corner. That's not my agenda. I want to link arms with Mike Braun, and he's going to have some good policies that we're going to be able to champion together. I'm sure of that, and I'll be energetic. I'll get around the state to champion that agenda. But I also want to be somebody that puts forth solutions. If I hear the problems when I'm talking to Hoosiers around the state, and no one's really putting forth solutions, I'm going to try to find a solution for those people. And that's what I did with the property taxes. And we said, here's some solutions, common sense, a way to still maintain local government revenue, but also take the burden off of the backs of people.
How would you make up some of that money for local governments, money they could lose in this?
Yeah, so I think we would continue the tax rates as they are for corporate-owned companies that are overseas. So we have a lot of land, a lot of corporations in Indiana that aren't part of our state or our country, and we would say, okay, if you're going to do business here, we welcome you, but you're going to pick up that heavier load, and that way some of the local entities don't lose that revenue.
You were in the news this past year amidst the fight over John Green's book and other books in the Hamilton County Library, where you served on the library board. In a statement about this LG race, Indiana Democrats called you a far-right pastor, in their words, who was focused on criminalizing abortion, banning books, and cutting funding for public education. What's your response to those who might feel your positions are too extreme in their view?
Yeah, I haven't changed my positions for the last 25 years. I think what our culture is doing is going further and further left. It's getting pulled left by the media, by just the culture in general. I've always said, hey, life begins at conception, and I believe we should defend all life. And if I believe life begins at conception, I'm going to always be an ardent defender
with
of that.
no exceptions.
Well, I think I am that way. I don't want to see us. If we can make sure that life is defended at all costs, let's go down that path.
Even in cases of rape?
Well, in cases of rape, that to me, I would love to see something where justice happens. So I've put forth something on the abortion aspect where if you, because I don't want to I'm not going to put myself in someone's shoes that's going through that. But I also know that there's an innocent child that has been created, and it begins at conception. So if that's going to be the case, we go down that path, then I want to see the person who raped the woman also get charged with murder, first-degree murder as well. Because if there's going to be an innocent life that's taken, and it was the fault of this man that did a wicked thing to begin with, then there needs to be justice. And I think we can come to solutions like that. Again, I'm going to always say let's err on the side of life as much as we can. And so I've always been a defender of that. When it comes to banning books, because that was a lot of the criticism, I just want to keep pornographic material out of the hands of kids. All right, I'm not saying that you can't have, if you're an adult and you want to go explore that, you have the freedom and liberty to do that.
The library board looked at some of these cases and found these weren't necessarily pornographic items that were being moved to.
Well, I could show you. I could show you some of the items that we found, and you would be censored on this program, right? Real quick by federal regulations. But
was there more backlash to that than you expected, given John Green's involvement in all of it?
No, because we were fighting an internal battle too with the library. There was staff that didn't like what we were doing. They wanted all pornographic material to remain in the kids section, and so when we started removing some, they started removing books that weren't.
Again, they found it wasn't necessarily pornographic.
Yes,
I know that could be a subjective term.
Well, I mean, again, I'll show you that I could, I could show you it, but it would be, I think it would be considered pornographic. But again, let's go back to the why behind that. It's like we want to protect the innocent of our kids, right? And I think everyone can agree on that. And all we were saying in that battle was just saying, hey, take this controversial, questionable content and just move it over to the adult world, right? That way, if little Jimmy or little Susie, they wander into the adult world, at least mom and dad know, hey, I probably should have the antennas up a little bit more to make sure that my kids aren't stumbling into something that would be harmful to them.
Julie McGuire, she has some experience serving the legislature, as does Mike Braun. You haven't served in elected office at the State House. Does that kind of experience matter in your view?
Well, I'm an outsider. I mean, I'm a true outsider. I have done a lot of legislative work with the Indiana Family Institute. I've worked with Senator Jack Sandlin when he was proposing some of his legislation. Him and I have been on a couple of the TV programs in Indianapolis defending that. I've worked with faith and family conservative legislators, and we've helped testify in committee. I've been testifying in committee, pushing bills through first, second, and third readings. So I have a lot of experience actually with legislation.
Meantime, there's also a contested nomination for Attorney General, not on the Republican side, but amongst two Democrats running for AG at their convention next month, Destiny Wells and Beth White. I spoke with both candidates this past week.
I tell people that the best attorney general is one when you walk in the office, you don't know if they're a Democrat or a Republican. You just know that they're a great attorney serving the people.
What would your main priorities be if you were elected attorney general?
So it is to get back to the business of being the attorney general. That means getting out of people's doctors' offices. It means getting out of classrooms and doing the work that we're supposed to be doing and being the people's attorney.
Why do you feel you're best equipped to take on Todd Rokita in the fall?
Yeah, so there are three things in particular: integrity, experience, and then really a no-nonsense approach to the office. I have had a lot of experience that is very relevant, but I'm also a person of significant integrity. I've been a lawyer for 35 years, and I really believe in fighting the right fights for the right reasons, doing the right things when it's time to do them, and telling the truth, and just focusing on what needs to be done.
All right, we're going to have much more of those interviews next week, but coming up next, we'll talk with our panel about the report this week on Victoria Spartz facing a possible ethics probe, and we'll get reaction from the Spartz campaign. Then later, we'll look at the events this week to mark the 80-year anniversary of D-Day. Stick around, we'll be right back.